it's Matt Brown here, and we'll be looking at radio-friendly unit shifter in this one. So this is the last song that I have to teach on In Utero. So with this one, I'm going to do kind of a different format from what I usually do. I'm going to teach the main riffs, being, I guess, this chorus riff and the bridge riff, and then I'll go back and kind of teach the noisy stuff that he does over the verses. Okay, so this song is in the key of A minor. And what I was just playing is the main riff or the bass line that happens during the verse and chorus. And we are tuned down a half step, so I'll refer to chords as if we're playing in standard tuning like I usually do. Alright, this main riff that I just played, I'll do it for you slow now. It sounds like... Alright, so the chords that we're doing, it's a C5 to start with. That's a 5th string root, 3-5-5. The next chord is G5, 6th string root, so just moving that up a couple strings. The next one is B5, 5th string root, 2-4-4, and then your F sharp 5, 2-4-4, 6th string root. Okay, so the first part of the first measure, I'll do measure or half a measure at a time. So first thing we're going to do is 2 muted strums, down up, and then a down up on your C5 chord. Alright, the second half of this measure we have 1 muted strum, 2 strums of the chord, and then a muted strum. Then the next measure we're going to do 2 strums on our B5, a mute, and then an upstroke on our F sharp 5. And then the last part of the measure, the second measure, is this. So you're strumming the F sharp 5 power chord, and then just playing the open E string, and then doing that again. So again, slowly. Something that you'll hear coming into this is, since you're playing muted notes around the 3rd and 5th fret, some harmonics might naturally occur. And also, when you're switching from the G5 to B5, instead of doing a mute in between those chords, you might hear like, you know, the open A string or the open D and A, something like that, as like a little transitional thing. Alright, so both guitars do that when the chorus happens during the song. Alright, so let's check out the bridge riff, and then, like I said, I'll go back and check out the noisy verses. Alright, so just 3 simple chords. We're going to do a C5, same one that we did for the verse. In E5, that's going to be a 5th string root as well, so 7-9-9, to an A5. That's your 6th string root, 5-7-7, to G5, 3-5-5. So what we have for the rhythm is 1, 2, and 3, and 4 in for the C chord. Then what we're going to do is slide into the E5, and then do like on the last up strum, some transitional open strings. Then we're going to do the same rhythm that we did with the C5 chord with the A chord, the 1, 2, and 3, and 4 in. And what he does is, to transition between the A5 and the G chord, is he just kind of like lifts up his first finger a little bit to make that an open note as he's sliding, and then puts the G5 down. So, you know, kind of a typical Kurt Cobain way to transition between chords. So all together slowly we get this. And same thing going from the G5 to the C5, just strumming like your open 5th and 4th strings between those chords. So something that you'll notice in, if you listen real closely to the recording, is he makes some mistakes as he's sliding into the chords. And at one point, I'm guessing he forgot what chord was coming next, and, you know, just made a mistake. He, you know, always recovered from his mistakes really musically though, so a lot of times those mistakes get left on the recordings. So anyway, the way that this riff ends and transitions back into the main chorus riff is Basically, the last time you do the C5 to the E5, and then on beat 4 of the E5, you're going to do a slide up and back down, and then you're back into the riff there. So, all right, let's go back and talk about the noisy stuff that happens like the interludes, intros, and verses. All right, with the noisy parts, first, obviously, the part that we have to talk about is the very beginning of the song. So, effects-wise, what you have going on is a lot of gain to have the sustain going, and some reverb to help that sustain. And then what he was using was the polychorus, the electro-harmonics polychorus pedal for a chorus sound. I don't have that pedal, so I'm using the Boss Super Chorus. That's what I use for chorus. And basically what I have going on is like the effects level and the EQ knob are at just sitting at 12 o'clock, and the rate and depth knobs are pretty much turned all the way up. So you can, tweak that for taste, but that's generally what you want to do. All right, so what he's doing as far as, I guess, conceptually the part, is we have a quarter note tempo of 154, like, and so the bends and releases are corresponding to a quarter note rhythm. And what he's doing to start with is bending your 14th fret of the 3rd string up a half step before you pick it, and just kind of letting that go up and down. He's doing it like a half step at first, then a full step, so like, and then it gets a little bit bigger. So starting with a half step and full step, and then extending this into a full step in a step and a half, like. So the idea with that would be like. That kind of sound. All right, so then the next pitch for the intro that he's going to bend up is the 15th fret of your 2nd string. So that happens for one bar. The next bar, what he's doing is he's grabbing the 14th fret of the 3rd string and the 15th fret of the 2nd string and bending both notes up like roughly a full step and back down. And then just going back to the 15th fret note. So the combination 15 and 14 thing, and then to just 15, that's going to happen basically twice. You'll have. And then you have like a 14 by itself and a 15 by itself. And you don't have to do this exactly how he does it. This is just the rough idea of what's going on. Then we're going to have. So that's the last thing, and you can either do that at the 4th fret of your 5th string or the 9th fret of your 6th string, same pitch, and you're kind of doing that just like a half step and bending it towards the floor and letting it come back. All right, so let's kind of talk about what happens next. So what happens next when the bass line comes in is where one guitar is going to be doing like muted notes, mainly quarter notes except for beat 4. You'll play 8th notes there, like basically over and over again. Guitar 2 is playing this, and I'll count you in. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's playing on the and of 1, and then a quarter note on 2, and then doing the same thing for the second half of the measure. So playing on the and of 3, and then playing on 4. The last measure before they transition into the main riff, both guitars are just doing like making noise like that. So they're sliding up in 8th notes, kind of muting some of the strings and just not thinking about it too much. Some of the strings are going to be muted. Let some of them ring through as you slide your finger up for that last measure before the riff comes in. All right, so that takes care of the intro. Let's talk about the first verse now. So the main riff ends just basically by playing an A5 power chord right here. So that's going to be held and sustained, and then this guitar track is also going to play an A minor 7 chord. So that A minor 7 chord is open 5th string, then 14, 12, 13. All right, so then we have 2 guitar tracks doing the ugly bending stuff, and then we have a 3rd guitar track that's doing some muted stuff as a background kind of rhythmic percussive type sound. So the percussive sound is mainly doing something like just playing on like 1 and 2 and for the most part of each measure and resting on beats 3 and 4, or just like 1 and 2. So it's kind of an ad-lib thing that you could do if you're gonna emulate this kind of exactly. The guitars that are doing the bends, the pitch sounds like he's bending an E note, so up a half step and back. So either on the 14th fret of the fourth string, or playing the same pitch on your 5th string. Doesn't matter. I guess that would be the 19th fret there. And then the other note, it's like a C that's going up there. So that's the 13th fret of your 2nd string. So the second verse is almost exactly the same as the first, with the exception of, instead of playing the A minor 7 chord up here, he just plays some harmonics that are implying 2 of the notes out of that chord. So that's the 7th fret natural harmonics of your 5th and 4th string. And then again, he's doing the 14th fret of the 4th string, and that 2nd fret, 13th fret of your 2nd string. All right, let's move on and check out the next one. With the next verse, what we're doing is we're playing the A minor 7 chord at the beginning, kind of like the first verse. That guy, we're going to do the 12th fret as one of our bending notes. We're going to use the 13th fret of the 2nd string as the other one. And then the other one we're going to use is the A note of the 5th fret of the 6th string. So that gives you a real low, kind of rumbly kind of sound in this verse. All right, so let's move on. So with the ending of this song, you're just making noise with the same kind of idea that I've been talking about with the verses and the intro. I will go through and tell you some of the double stops in specific pitches that he's bending if you want to emulate this more closely. So like the first kind of thing, doing the 12th and 13th frets. And then, moving that up a half step. And then the 17th and 18th frets sound nice. He does that next. And then one of the next pitches he does that idea with is the 16th fret. So you can do these as long or as short as you want, but generally like a bar or 2 each will generally get the sound across like. I guess the tricky part is he's only picking like the first note once and then sustaining the bend. So it's almost like just paying attention to how long your bends are going to sustain with the level of gain you have. So with the level of gain I am playing with, 2 is maybe the max. He's playing with a little more gain on the recording, so maybe you can go 3 measures and sustain it that long. Also, the louder you have your amp up, the more you're going to get slightly more sustain out of it. All right, so after that, let's check out what happens after the low 16th fret bend. So he kind of goes down low after the 16th fret and gives you some high some low notes as some contrast. So anything down here like. Anything like that down low will give you the right effect. And then he's coming back up high for contrast against the low part. So that's kind of a good idea with how to emulate this ending is, you know, pick some low notes and some high notes so that you have some contrast and you're not just playing everything up high, and that'll get the job done. You know, the other guitars just like, you know, doing some muting stuff and making noise, like you know, type stuff. So yeah, I mean, that's, you know, just in don't be afraid to make this as noisy and as sloppy as possible. You really can't make it sound bad as long as you're playing in time and playing with this general idea. Okay, so that'll do it for a radio-friendly unit shifter. I didn't tab all of this one out, just the main riffs. So if you want the tabs for the main riffs, just yell at me. But otherwise, hopefully I did a good enough job explaining this one. So I'm Matt Brown. Please subscribe to my channel. I've got just, you know, maybe a handful of Nirvana songs left to do. Well, more than that, maybe 10, 15, around that many. But I'm going to get back and finish up the other albums I'm working on too. So please stick around and subscribe. All right, thanks a lot, guys.